There's
Okay.
the 19-second countdown.
Yeah, what is that all
That
about?
freezes.
Holy moly.
What are you looking at?
He's Metz. He's Tass. It's the Metzger Tassoul Show.
Now can you hear me? I can't hear you. Oh, can you hear me? Because I can't hear you.
Is it your AirPods?
No, I can't hear you. Yes, sir.
Hey, talk to the folks. We can hear you over Facebook, but they can't hear me. So just talk, start
Oh.
it, see how everyone's doing. Where's everyone from?
Good. Yeah. I'm sure everyone can hear you talking through speaker right now.
Yes.
So let's just
talk to the folks.
Yeah. All right. Got it. Sounds
we're
good.
back.
We'll see you in a minute.
All right,
Bye.
I'm back.
No, I can't hear you. Hello, everybody. As you guys are tuning in, this is actually a special treat for everybody because Mr. Metzger cannot be heard right now. So this is a special treat for all of you. Hey, as you guys are jumping in, just tell us, who's listening, where you guys are from, all the good stuff. As we work through some of the technical difficulties and the sound challenges. I just want everyone to know that our goal and our mission is to be very consistent. So every time we do the Metz Task Show, we have these challenges. So we are very consistent in what we're doing. So yeah, who we got on? Let's see, Miss Ramos. It might be a good thing that we can't hear Metz. Oh boy. All right. And Mr. Landis, anybody else watching, or do we have our two favorite fan club people watching? We will get started here shortly, everybody. And we will go from there. Hey, just curious, if you are Mr. Johnson, how are you, sir? I think you got what you needed yesterday. I know that Mr. Brian Negrone, I think, had reached out and connected with you. So hopefully you got what you needed. And Mr. Johnson, you're a fan. Thank you. Everyone's a fan of the Mr. Metzger No Sound Club. Oh, he's switching to his iPad. He's going old school. So listen, this will be an interesting topic today, because I know most everybody that is going to watch this is going to have an opinion on it and some real data on whether or not this is possible. So it'll be exciting to hear that. If you guys are just joining us, let us know that as well. All right, Mr. Johnson, crushing the challenges. Give me an example of a challenge that you're crushing, my friend. Oh, is that you? Oh, wow. This is really weird. It's like a
I thought it'd be a better show if there were two of me.
Yeah, why don't you get another device? Oh my God. And here it is. This is called
Brian, we need 2 more Metzgers.
Yeah, this is called one-upmanship. He always has to just go one up. He needs a lot of attention, as you guys can tell. That's
Holy
great.
God.
If you just go up, there we go.
Where am I at? All right. Very good. Let's move this.
That was great.
All right, Tass, please continue with your banter.
We can hear you now. I was just curious. Mr. John said he's crushing the challenges. He's got flyers printed, QR code, added a video film for a landing page for greeting for summer special. That's great, sir. And listen, here's what I know, right? Before we get into the topic.
How's that?
That's great. What's the guy's name that's next door, the neighbor? Wilson? No.
Yeah, whatever.
Whatever it is. Yes.
All right.
But look, before we get into the topic, and Mr. Johnson, you and I just had a conversation yesterday, the day before, I think it was. And, a lot of it's mindset, right? We can get in a great mindset. Sometimes we can get in a funk in this industry. We can have a poor mindset. Sometimes we get paralyzed. But at the end of the day, what will knock all of that fear out or that anxiety or the worry or all the things is just taking action. Because when you take action, something's going to happen. And it's like, now I have to figure out, well, what am I going to do next, right? It's like sparring, right? If all you do is sit there and you're like just being defensive and you're not going to try and do anything, you're going to be the one to get hit, right? Or you might do something, whether that's a kick, a punch. Oh, and Metzger's gone. Any of those things. And then you're going to find out, did it work? Did it not work? Right? We get feedback, and we have this feedback loop that happens, and that's what allows us to really make better decisions moving forward, right? And now we say, okay, that didn't work well, or wow, that worked really well. And so, Mr. Johnson, kudos to you. I used to have a saying, I'll keep it PG for the show, but when you do stuff happens, right? And that's kind of the mantra. And what happens oftentimes is we get so paralyzed in the moment, we get the whole paralysis, and he's back, paralysis through analysis. And sometimes we don't do anything. And I will tell you, nothing good happens when you do nothing, right? Because this in life and in any business, you're either growing or you're dying. It is very hard to maintain and flatline. So what are you doing? And if you're not doing something every day, I assure you that you're slowly dying over time. So congratulations, Mr. Johnson, on putting in the work and getting through the challenges and making things happen. And look, we may not get the results that we want, but we will get feedback. We'll close that feedback loop. We'll figure out how to get better, and we'll make it better, and we'll do it again. And that's business, right? We do that over and over and over. Are you back, and can we hear you? Very good. There he is.
I'm back. Yes, I'm back.
Very good. Very good. Well, welcome
So
back.
are we done?
Welcome back. Yeah, that was. Dude, I will say we are very consistent on this show.
Yeah.
We have not figured out the technical challenges yet after many years.
All right. So anyway, I was just reading the comments, and what was that in regards to with Mr. Johnson as far as QR codes, video film for landing page?
Yeah.
What?
So he participated in the summit. Was that last week already? Was that last
Yeah.
week? Right. My father always told me this was going to happen. Time would go by faster. I just don't remember. Last week. So we participated in the summit, and I think everybody knows that when we do things like that, right, our goal and our mission is to hopefully do a few things. Number one, inspire you. Number two, educate you. Number three, get you, right, to come over to the dark side. And when I say that, when we inspire and we educate you and we give you gold nuggets, it's things that you can actually go back and take and you can implement and execute. And so after watching last week, he's taken some of these items and he's now executing on those items. And we had a conversation.
You just kicked him out.
Well, now it's my turn, I guess. Are we still on?
Mhm.
Okay. So, Mr. Landis, I'm assuming, as I read through your comments here, that it's regarding summer special and just trying to gear up for summer. Am I still? Can they hear me? Okay. Okay. I just want to make sure we're able to get the police day hosted in front of our school. Okay, so you've taken massive action. So let me go over this. There he is. Hi, Tess. It's your turn.
Dude, are you just trying to steal the show or what? Like,
I'm really doing everything I can. I'm like,
kicks me off,
with me.
pops
Get rid
up
of that.
doubles. Oh my god!
You know
All
what
right.
the problem is with this industry?
We're- I think we're gonna have a level 10 meeting when we're done to see how this meeting went.
There it is. Let me use this angle later. Anyway, so yeah, it's a comedy show today, guys. Here's one thing for success: lighten up a little bit, people. Have fun.
Right.
Anyway, look, the topic of the show is: can you make $100K in the martial arts industry? And that's not a school owner. Number one, it's not a school owner we're talking about. It's not a school we're talking about, like $100K a year, $100K a month. It's not an instructor. It's not a program director. It's all of it. You know, whether you're an owner or not, can you make $100K in this industry? By the way, and is it important? Is that important? So, what say you, Tass? Is that important to? And by the way, we use the term $100K because it was good for a title. But at the end of the day, is it important to be able to make a great living in the martial arts industry? Not a good living, a great living.
Well, listen. Here's the thing, right? The way you just asked that question in the martial art, you added on in the martial art industry, right? I would just cut that part off. Like, is it important for you to make a great living? I mean, I think if everybody, and listen, this is not political, by the way, but I think if everybody goes to the grocery store, or you have, listen, maybe you're at an age where you've got 19, 20-year-old kids. Are you at all concerned that they're going to be able to buy and afford a house? Like, the things that are getting, things are getting expensive, right? There's no question that things can be expensive. And so the question is it important for you to make $100,000 a year as a plumber, as a martial artist, as an electrician, as fill in the blank? I think regardless of what you do and where you are, I think at some point you need to realize, look, we need to make more money because we're trying to keep up with, again, not political, right? But inflation and all the things, to be able to afford life, right? And to do the things that we want to do. And I guess if you like options in your life, the more money you make, the more options that you have. And I just think, well, geez, if I could make $100,000 teaching martial arts, or I can make $100,000 in a factory or mill where I'm doing the same thing at a station and it's 120 degrees in there and I'm doing it all day long, I would rather go do the martial arts and make $100,000 doing that. As a matter of fact, there are some of you maybe on here. I know my son is one of them. Like, he said this not that long ago. If someone offered him $200,000 to go be an employee somewhere, right? And I know this is for both, but his mindset is I'd rather make $100,000 and do it on my own, right? Because that's how he's driven. Because he has this potential and this idea that he wants to go after these things and do these things. So I think it's all relative to the person. But this goes back to something you and I talk about a lot, which is most people will say it's money is not everything. And I'm convinced, right, that there's a book somewhere that said that. And because I understand, and as I get older, I understand even better, by the way, like you want everything that money can buy until you have one thing that money can't buy, and that's your health, right? And so I would agree that health is the most important thing, by the way. Like, I want to be very crystal clear about that. But if you're broke and you don't have money, you can't afford to do things, whether it's for yourself, for your kids, whether that's be a philanthropist, whether that's buy a nice vehicle, that's where the struggles start to come in. So I would think anybody would want to make $100,000 or more, regardless of the industry. And the question is, well, how can you do that? And there needs to be a plan for that, right?
So, and again, it's not about 100K, right? It's about, and I say the martial arts because, Tass, we know there's people in the martial arts industry that have a belief that you don't, I don't know, it's negative to make money in the martial arts business. Some people may think, or that's not what it's about, and this, that, and the other. Anyway, here's the deal. Here's the thing. First of all, if you were ever a part of the My Elite family, or if you were a CMA affiliate, and there's a lot that are, we teach, number one, an owner is just a piece of the puzzle. We're a team. We need each other, instructors, program directors, owners. Number two, I don't ever want there to be a financial ceiling on an owner or an employee. I don't want there to be like, this is as much as I'll ever make here, and that's where it caps out. So I don't want a financial ceiling. And if you don't agree with that statement, I'd love to hear your thoughts on why you think there should be a financial ceiling. Like, do you think there should be this is the most you'll ever make in the martial arts industry, right? And then number three, you got to figure out a work-life balance, okay? Where I don't believe the majority of people want to be tied to a mat or a school every day for the next 60 years, 50 years, till 9:30 at night. So you have to have a corporate structure. But how can you implement a corporate structure into your martial arts business? 99% of the people that run a martial arts school does not have that ability or that structure to offer people executive type positions. And my question would be, would you want to be able to offer that? And Pat and Tass, we've had this, not you and I, but we together have had this debate with a lot of people in the industry. Like the debate of, I don't want more schools. I don't want a corporate store. I don't want. That's cool. But if you had the option to either have it or not, I just need to understand why you think it's better to not.
Right.
And nobody's been able to give me a good argument for that. Right. Here's why you say no. Because you're afraid your product or service is going to go down. You're afraid you can't do it. You're afraid it's going to be too much headache. You're afraid to put in the work. I mean, that's the reality. You're not fooling us, because if I can snap my fingers and you can have this and provide all these opportunities for yourself or your team members or future team members that you can't afford to have right now, why would you say no to that?
Right. And so I would say this, and there's a couple points I want to bring up. Number one, I would say this to a single school owner operator. You just said something that really struck a chord with me. If you could snap your fingers, I'm just going to say, to have 3 locations. You're a single owner operator right now, right? Snap my fingers. You have 3 locations. They're fully staffed. They each have 250 students. Your employees and your team, I'll say employees for lack of a better term, just to understand what your team, your employees, right, your staff love you. They love what they do. They love to serve. They want to make this a career. Who wouldn't want that? But in our minds, we think, oh my God, 3 locations, 3 rent bills, triple the headaches with staff. There is no staff. That one school only has 80 students. Those are all the reasons why we don't, or you don't want to do something like that. But I've said this before, if I could wave a magic wand and give you 50 people into your martial arts school today and say, look, here's the deal. Here's 50 people. You have to train them for 4 weeks. You have to give them all a uniform out of pocket, that's your cost to do that. But they have to train with you for the next 4 weeks. There are some school owners that would say, I'm not giving freaking 50 people a uniform. That's just too expensive. There are school owners that will say that, believe it or not. I would take that deal all day long. I would take that deal where I give them a uniform and $100 to train on my floor if I could have 50 people coming at once. So there's perspective there, and I think, oftentimes you're right. We think of how hard things could be, and we manifest those things, and you're not wrong. There are times that things can be very hard, but there are times where things can be very fun and very exciting as well, right? And that's why people do it. And then the flip side of that is owner, employee, whoever, this is a whole, I'm jumping tracks here for a second, but if you don't have corporate structure, you have to understand that you're going to lose people over time. right? And the only thing that I can, because this is what I teach the young kids is, you absolutely have to maximize your savings in your retirement, right? Whether that's through a Roth IRA or a 401 or a match or a simple IRA match or whatever it is. You have to max that out as young as you can for as long as you can, and don't ever dip into it, because that is your meal ticket home, right? Like I've said this before. If I would have been in Maya when I was in my 20s, right? Like I would be in a whole different place today, because I didn't do business right for the first 15 years, man. Like we did okay, but not knowing the things that we know today and what were even 11 years ago, right? Be in a whole different place. And so there's a lot of ways to get there, but you defined something to me not that long ago where you said, look, things are temporary. And here's the good news, right? And this is the flip side that I told Mr. Metzger, but things are temporary, right? You might have staff and you might be like, they're golden, like they're lifers. Okay, great. That's great. And that you may be right, but how long is life, right? Is that 10 years, 5 years, 15 years? And then what happens? They have a career change. Their spouse has a career change. They're going to move. They want to stay with you. Something is going to or could happen, and they're going to leave you. And now you're back on the floor, right? So that's temporary. 15 years is temporary. 5 years, 5 minutes, 5 months. But here's the other side. Some of you are in a place in your business where you're struggling. And you want to know the great news? That's temporary as well. If you just take action and start making decisions and move the needle, right? Decisions that will move the needle. An example of this is, and this is I'm just, don't kill the messenger. This is my opinion. I spoke with Mr. Johnson yesterday. He was telling me he was going to have this booth set up. I might be paraphrasing a little bit. And he was going to be promoting the self-defense summer special for the self-defense, plus the kids' summer special. I said, sir, don't do that. Don't do that. I said, your focus is divided. Pick one. And in my opinion, do you enroll more kids or do you enroll more adults? What's easier? For him, it's kids. If you were an MMA or an adult BJJ, I would say do the opposite, right? Do the self-defense thing. But pick one focus and go all in on that, because it's just easier for him. It would be easier for us to have a booth set up and just be focusing on kids. Because I said, what's going to happen when you have two adults come up and they have a 10-year-old? Are you talking about the self-defense program? Are you talking about the kids program? Because you don't have 20 minutes to have a conversation on what they think. And it sounds like we're trying to sell everything in the kitchen sink to them or have them do everything in the kitchen sink. So pick one thing, right? And for him, that's going to be the kids' summer special, and that's going to be his focus. But if we just start doing something is going to happen, and then we just modify and adjust. Just like I was saying earlier with sparring, right? Like you're going to do something, and you're going to get feedback. And it's going to be good feedback or bad feedback, so you're going to make a different decision on how you approach the next time.
By the way, you said you got to do something, but the thing is you also said, and we got to adapt. That something changes, guys, right? Change, I just heard this, change is inevitable, progress is not, right?
Uh-huh.
Things are going to change.
Right.
Constantly.
Right.
But progress may not move. You may not progress, right? You got to pay attention and do things. So you want to scale, you want to make 100K, you want to have people, you want to employ people that make 6 figures plus. Look, number one, you got to understand what your strengths and weaknesses are. So hire your first person or look at your team and make sure you put somebody where you're weak, right? So if you are a martial arts school owner right now and you're a one-man or one-woman show, who do you hire first? Well, I wouldn't say hire an assistant instructor yet. I'd hire a part-time hourly person to be in my office, by the way, from 4 to 8, or whatever you can afford, right? Like a half hour before your classes start until classes end, 9 o'clock, whenever that is. But 5 days a week. Don't hire somebody to be there 2 days and another person to be there another 2 days, then another person to be there 1 day a week. Find somebody that can get 15 to 20 hours a week. And then it's the uniform theory that Tassoul talks about. Well, I can't afford that. Well, you understand that if you paid somebody, I'm making it up, $10 an hour or $15 an hour, right? And they're there 20 hours a week. $300 a week, six, 1,200 a month. What? Yeah,
Could they sell one more basic program for you in a month?
that's it, right? The thing is if you had somebody in that office the entire time your customers were coming into the building, someone who could follow up with leads, set appointments, do enrollments, provide customer service, upgrades, renewals, right? Sell retail, this, that, and the other. Can they not take your business up over $1,200 a month, right? Just they will if you know how to train that person. Then as you grow, now let's get an assistant on the floor to be with you. And eventually, can that free you up to where you can bounce on and off the floor, mingle more with your customers, check on the office? Then that's going to raise your business. And then how do you get yourself to work more on the business as opposed to in the seat, right? So that's step one. Step two is you have to have a vision, even for the person that's just coming on part-time. This is where I'm taking this business. I'd like you to be part of that journey. And show them your path and how you plan on getting there and how you plan on taking them with you. But we all got to do our part. So you have to have a corporate structure of sorts. Next, you have to have clear goals. Short-term goals. We have to have when I say long-term, I mean an annual goal. You got to have a year, your yearly goal. What do we want to do this year? Break it into quarters, break those quarters into months, and then break those months into weeks. Short-term goals. This is what we got to do this week. By the way, this is what we got to do today. But I want to make sure that we hit our goal for the week. And then I want to make sure that we're hitting the goal for the month. And then I want to make sure that if we're behind, we make up for it and we hit the goal for the quarter, which then can hit the goal for the year, because this is a stepping stone, not for the owner to just get a better life, but your team's got to see how it's a stepping stone for everyone that's with you on this train to have a better life. The problem is you got to find the right people. So you got to know how to train people, number one. Well, what are you training them on? Most of you train them on tasks. Let me tell you how to make a call, how to make a lead call, how to set an appointment, how to do an enrollment, how to do this, how to do this. Those are tasks. So you need to know how to hire right first. Find somebody that just has an unbelievable personality and a good work ethic. All I need you to do, by the way, is show up. Show up, have a good work ethic, have a good personality. The task part becomes so much easier. If you hire wrong, then the tasks become so much harder, right? The other thing is you got to make sure that everyone understands we are a team. If my floor is unbelievable and the quality of instruction is great and the rapport is great and the atmosphere and the culture is great, the close in the office and the enrollments and the upgrades and the renewals or whatever you're doing is easy. If the floor is not delivering, it becomes much harder. So you got to hire right in all areas, and you got to make sure you're training on the right things, right? So these are the systems and the processes if you want to take your company or your business to another level. Some of you know our background, some of you don't, but I'd like to say we're qualified, right? We have 9 locations in Orlando. We have 161 licensed locations nationwide. And it's a cookie cutter system because it's built on customer service, taking care of your customers, providing a quality product or service, and taking care of your team. That's what it's built on. Take care of your people. Who are your people? Your customers and your staff and your team. Don't put yourself on a pedestal. We need a leader, but we all have our jobs. That's my job. My job is to manage the systems. Your job's to execute the systems. Together, we're going to be unstoppable, right? So, last thing I want to tell you, and Tass, I don't know if I shared this with you, but have you heard people talk about Tass? Have you ever experienced this or heard anyone talk about this? Or, by the way, put in the chat box if you've experienced this. Do you believe in this statement? It's hard to find good people.
You want me to answer that question?
Surely.
Yeah, no, it's Shane, not Shirley. Um, I believe it's hard to find good people if you say it's hard to find good people. um, it's Manny and I had this conversation yesterday, maybe, about using the word it's the grind. Like, well, grind for most people has a negative connotation to it, right? As opposed to, yeah, I'm just trying to work the opportunity. I'm trying to work the opportunity. Different way of saying the same thing, really, right? Like, there's an opportunity, it just needs to be worked. But one has a more positive. But I've been guilty of saying it's hard to find good help, right? It's hard to find good people. And that's something that, as you just asked that question, I need to be mindful of not putting that out in the universe. You know what? It's easy to find great people. It's easy to find great people. Like, that's the mantra that you need, and then you can find somebody, right? Your mind has this unbelievable way of always delivering what you put in, right? Like, it's unbelievable how that works. If you say something like, well, I can't do that, or this, or you get what you focus on is the easiest way to say that. So if you're focused on there is no such thing and you can't find good help is hard to find, you will believe that because you're saying it over and over and over again. And then you're going to blame the new generation. It's going to be this, it's going to be that. And by the way, I'm guilty of saying that, right? But we have right, great people, and there are great people out there that we absolutely can find.
By the way, but here's part two to that question. How do you define what a great person is in the context of your business? Are there great people that are in the wrong seat?
Right.
Yes, there are. Right. Secondly, competency. We base, finding great people based on competency a lot of times. Well, do you expect everybody to be at your level of thinking, your level? And you think, good God, is there anything? It's common sense. And I always say there is no such thing as common sense, right? So what's easier? Finding great people that have the competency where you are. And by the way, if you run your own school, you define that bar as far as competency, as far as how you want it run and what you expect people to do. And everybody may have a different definition or bar standard to competency. But is it easier to find people and train them up to your level of competency? Or is it easier to have stronger, better, more simpler systems to where there's more people that are competent in delivering the final result that you want in your business? High quality instruction, revenue generation, recruiting of new customers and students. Don't lose focus on what the end goal is here. We get caught up in the tasks of how to get there all the time. And it gets so overwhelming and so messy and so frustrating when you're thinking, wait a minute. And I say this all the time, but I really don't know if you really practice this. All I need you to do, this company, is recruit new students, generate revenue, and retain our customers. Now, keep in mind, you can't retain your customers if you have piss poor service or bad quality instruction and yada, yada, yada. Even martial arts schools that have bad quality instruction, some of you may chime in and say, well, that's not true. The school down the street, they're just absolutely horrible and they have 300 students. Well, maybe it's because they have a very good recruiting machine and there's high turnover, but they know how to sell and they're recruiting. That could be, right? But you should want to have all three boxes checked. I want to retain my customers by taking care of them, providing a good service. I need good marketing, and we need to be able to recruit new people, and I need to understand how to generate revenue in my business. And now we need to work as a team, and we need to do that. Now, do I have to, when I teach you a system or a task, I may say, well, here's how you do this. Step 1, step 2, step 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. That's how you do an enrollment, right? Once you learn those steps, make it your own. Maybe you're going to go step 1, step 2, step 10. Like you just, because I hired right. I hired the right personality, the work ethic, the person who shows up, the person who's willing, that wants to grow. So now it's just I don't care how you do it. Just do it the best you can do it, right? So you got to understand all these things if you guys really want to have an opportunity in this field more than you ever thought was possible. You can do it, but you got to do those steps. Thank you and good night.
You know, you go back to the single owner operator that might not have any team, right? I was in the office yesterday, and one of our part-timers was in the office yesterday, and it's interesting because we were both in the office, I got up to leave, and the parent must have felt that it was actually a respectful parent, because sometimes it doesn't happen. Parents will come in the office and there's other parent, hey, and they'll start talking, right? But they went in the office after I left. And after I left, when they walked in the office, and this is, by the way, there's the good news and there's the bad news on this. The bad news is this person should have been addressed sooner, right? Because their program is expiring. And so our CRM, when they checked in, said to see the office. Well, they were being a good parent, and they came to the office, and they checked to see what the deal was. Long story short, because I had somebody in the office, she was able to renew them, and they paid in full for 12 months, and that was a $1,700 deal, right? So my point is had that person not been in the office, does it mean that person wouldn't have renewed? Maybe. I mean, we just don't know what happens in life, right? Mandy just had a jeweler in her magazine, right? That was going to go in her magazine and pay the advertising to go in the magazine. And what happened was they've been on a wait list for this country club for years. Their number got called. They're now eligible to join the country club. And now she believes that this jeweler, right? Like, hey, listen, we're not going to do the advertising and the marketing in the magazine anymore, because I believe this is what we've been waiting for. I believe that we're going to have a really good position for marketing, because now we're part of the country club. That happened in a week's time, right? And you say this all the time. Do it now. Do it now. Make the call now. Do this. Take care of it now. And you can't do those things if you don't have somebody in the seat in your office, right? So there's a lot of examples that we can give of that, but you need to make sure that you always are taking care of things now, because we just don't know. I bet you people on here could say, yeah, I had someone that was going to come in and they were going to enroll. I had someone that was going to come in and they were going to pay in full. Doesn't matter. And then we talk to them. Life gets in the way. The next week comes like, yeah, the tranny on my car just went. I can't do it anymore. I gotta get my car fixed. But interesting, if they would have come in and done the enrollment or paid in full or whatever, and their tranny went out the next week, they wouldn't have come to you and asked you for a refund. They would have figured out how to fix their transmission, right? How to pay for it. So waiting doesn't ever do anybody any good. It doesn't ever do anyone any good for the most part, right? There maybe wine, like fine wine is aged and takes a while, but most everything else, right? You got to just get it done. And when you have somebody in the seat, you have that. Now you're stacking the deck in your favor, as an example, right? And you talk about the competencies thing. The other thing I think that happens is people will come in, will hire, and a lot of times people hire, like you said, not even the wrong person, but also for the wrong reason. Like you're hiring for convenience, right? As opposed to an investment. And if you hire somebody, you have to invest your time into that person. And here's what is common and what happens is when you do this and you invest your time, effort, energy in that person, you train that person, it's you that's doing it. And then it just doesn't work out and that person's gone, and then you got to rehire, and then you start all over. Okay, I got to invest my time. I got to train. And after you do that 2, 3, 4 times, it can be exhausting for you as an owner. And you're like, then they just hire somebody, they get them in the seat and just, yeah, here's what you got to do. And we don't invest the same time to help them get competent in what it is that they're doing, right? And there are systems and there are ways and things that we can do to help with that, to make sure they're competent, because competence leads to confidence. because I've also had people that have come in and sat in the seat and they feel like they're not getting enough direction or enough work to do. And people don't like that either, right? They want to be, the right people want to be busy. They want to feel productive. They want to be doing things. And so, over, gosh, I don't know, 31 years now, I've been doing this, right? I've made all the mistakes. I don't know that Metzger has, but I've made all the mistakes for sure. And then we just try and learn from those and move forward.
Yeah, you always talk about if you would have joined Maya in your 20s. By the way, I made more mistakes than everybody. I mean, I just had the luxury of living at home till I was 25 to afford to make those mistakes. I mean, I wish I would have known back then what I know today. I'd be in a whole different spot too, right?
Right.
I mean, we all would. But when is now a good time to start? I mean,
Right.
start now, right?
That's right.
Look, at the end of the day, if you're a single school operator and you're sitting there and you're thinking, well, I do make six figures, right? But you make six figures because you bought yourself a job, right? And if you don't have staff, you're in the seat. You're going to wake up someday and want to move up in your own company. Give other people an opportunity to have the same opportunity that you do. Create a position. People love teaching martial arts. There are some people that love teaching for the rest of their life. I love teaching martial arts. I just don't love teaching 7 classes a day, 5 days a week for the rest of my life, like I did for the first 8 years that I ran my school, every day, every class, right? I mean, but I want the option to just go in and teach a class if I want to teach a class. But I got to give that same opportunity to my people. So they got to, I point the direction, I pave the way, and they got to walk it. But it's there for them to walk. For most of you, it's not even there for them to walk, right?
Right.
Anyway, look, I'm sitting here and I'm listening like to you and this, that, and the other. And I got to think, what do you think we're doing this for? Well, number one, we're doing it because we'd love for you to come to MayaCon in July. We'd love for you to join our My Elite program. But why? Is it because we want your money and, that's what we need? Is that our main reason, do you think? Like, it really isn't. We just have a passion to help this industry, and we know we can help. But we're also going to tell you that there's a work to it. There's a grind today. But the more you do today, the less you'll do tomorrow. Right?
That's right. And look, like I've said this before, it's similar to, I know you don't know how this feels, but similar to winning grand champion at tournaments. And then you see your student win grand champion. Like, it was one thing for you to do it. It's another thing for your student to do it, right? It's a whole different feeling. And so that was a joke, by the way. I know you're processing right now, but just in case you went over your head.
I dozed off. What were you saying?
Thank you. But that's what it's like in the industry, right? What's interesting is that because there's such immediate feedback, in other words, here's the thing, right? Like, there's dollars and cents, right? We can measure in dollars and cents, right? And I know people don't want to hear that, like, oh, it's all about the money. Yeah, to a point, there has to be about the money, right? Or the lack of. I mean, you figure out which one you want, but it's a way to measure. It's a way to measure success. Not the only way, but it's a way to measure. And when we work with clients and we see them have this drastic turnaround in a short period of time financially, and they're excited, and it all of a sudden the spark is there, the fire is back, and now they've taken this to a whole other. That's what's exciting. That's number one. Number two, I was in the health club industry, and I will tell you, it was so freaking hard to sell a $35 health club membership, because the number of health clubs that would come and go and open and close and do pre-sales and take everyone's money and skip town and do was ridiculous. And the industry had a black eye, and it made it much more difficult for any other health club that came to town. Doesn't mean the health clubs couldn't make it or survive. It just made it harder. So the other maybe hidden objective is we just want to leave this industry better than we found it, so that it's easier for everybody to do business, right? Because when martial arts schools open and then close and shut down or take people's money or do all the things, it just makes it harder for everybody. And we just want it to be easier right? It's never going to be easy, but we want it to be easier. And that's really why we do what we do as well.
There it is. And yes, Mr. Blackman, the $200 urns of coffee, $200 a gallon. We need more people at MyEcon to be paying. And then Mr. Lockett, we'll go over actually, Shane's going to do a session at MyEcon about how to properly snap your fingers, wake up the next day, and you have 3 locations.
Yeah, dude. I said it's not always easy. It's not. There's 3 other things that you have to do while you snap your fingers, but we're not going to share that on this show.
Anyway, guys, look, come to MyEcon. We're getting there. We have, who do we have? Mr. Bill Wallace, Dave Kovar, Carmichael Simon, for you old school, competitors, one of the best ever to do it. James Sang Lee is with Carmichael Simon, who's been in movies, does stunts, multiple world champion in self-defense. Chris Rappold, successful school owner, phenomenal person, head coach of team Paul Mitchell. Matt Arroyo, UFC fighter, has a big following on Instagram, high-level BJJ, 7-figure school. And then Claudia Gadelia, who has an unbelievable story. UFC fighter, but also now is an executive with the UFC who oversees UFC Fight Pass, and is in charge of that department with the UFC, but fought for the belt. There's Carmichael. Sir, looking forward to seeing you, Brent. And Claudia has an unbelievable story because not only was she a UFC fighter and the #1 woman in the world as a fighter, but saved her money, invested her money, owns 9 investment properties, works for UFC, but started out leaving home at 14 years old and living in her school, living in a BJJ school, selling sandwiches on the beach to make ends meet. So, look, we need inspiration too. And we also need to hear these stories because no matter where you're at, if you're a school owner right now, if you work in a school, I promise you it's not she made it coming from that. You're way ahead of that, right? From the favelas in Brazil, she was living, right? I mean, in poverty, and has become an unbelievable success. So it's going to be great. And we appreciate you tuning in, everybody. And Tass, no weight on the leg yet, right?
8 days. But who's
8 more
counting?
days? That's
Next
it.
Friday.
8 more days.
Next Friday.
Wow. You could start walking on it.
Yes, sir. That will be amazing.
We take that for granted, right?
Unbelievable. I mean, it went from, hurt and pain to let me just rest and recuperate to can I just walk? It's just so frustrating. I mean, just that's where it's gotten. But, I've got about a blue belt now on crutches. I'm pretty good. So
there you go.
Yeah.
Well, that's higher than you are in martial arts. So
that's true. That's true.
That's
yes.
fantastic news.
Yeah, it's great news, man. There it is. 20 minutes late, but there's the hit.
I wanted to wait till the end.
Love it. Love it. Well, appreciate everybody for tuning in. All right.
I'll touch base.
Sounds good. Bye-bye, everybody.
See ya.